An FBI agent sold nuclear secrets for 22 years. Nobody suspected him once. On February 18, 2001, Robert Hanssen walked through a dark Virginia park. He carried a garbage bag filled with classified documents. Hanssen had done this dozens of times before. He would leave the bag under a footbridge. Russian intelligence would pick it up hours later. They would leave cash and diamonds in return. But this time was different. 60 FBI agents surrounded the park. They had been watching for weeks. When Hanssen placed the bag and turned to leave, they moved in. He didn't run. He didn't resist. He simply asked one question: "What took you so long?" That question haunts the FBI to this day. Because Robert Hanssen wasn't some rogue operative. He was a 25-year veteran. A devout Catholic who attended church daily. A father of 6 children. And for more than 2 decades, he had access to America's most sensitive secrets. He sold almost all of them. Robert Hanssen joined the FBI in January 1976. He was 32 years old. Former Chicago police officer. Graduate of Northwestern University. Obsessed with computers and encryption. The FBI assigned him to counterintelligence almost immediately. His job was to catch Soviet spies. Instead, he became one. In 1979, Hanssen walked into the Soviet Trade Organization in New York. He offered his services to the GRU, Soviet Military Intelligence. His price was $70,000. They paid it. He handed over the names of 3 Soviet officers secretly working for the FBI. All 3 were recalled to Moscow. 2 were executed. 1 died in prison. This was just the beginning. But here's what nobody knew at the time. Hanssen had a problem. He was drowning in debt. 6 kids in private Catholic schools. A wife who didn't work. A salary that barely covered the mortgage. The Soviets offered him a way out. And he took it without hesitation. For the next 2 years, Hanssen delivered document after document. Then in 1981, he suddenly stopped. His wife Bonnie had discovered cash hidden in their bedroom. Hanssen confessed to her. She forced him to tell their priest. The priest said to stop spying and donate the money to charity. So Hanssen did. He stopped completely. For 4 years, he was clean. The FBI never knew about those first 2 years. They never investigated. And that mistake would cost them everything. Because in 1985, Robert Hanssen got greedy again. October 1985 changed everything. Hanssen sent an anonymous letter to the KGB. He didn't use his name this time. He called himself Ramon Garcia. He offered a sample of what he could provide. The sample was devastating. The identities of 3 high-level Soviet intelligence officers working for the United States. The KGB responded immediately. They wanted more. Hanssen delivered. Over the next 15 years, he handed over 6,000 pages of classified material. He revealed a secret tunnel the FBI had dug beneath the Soviet embassy in Washington. Cost $100 million. Useless the moment Hanssen exposed it. He gave them a document called the National Intelligence Program. It detailed every single intelligence operation the United States was running. He sold them the entire defensive strategy for a nuclear war. Where bombers would fly. Where missiles would launch. Where leaders would hide. He compromised dozens of intelligence sources. At least 10 were executed because of information he provided. But here's what made Hanssen so dangerous. He worked in FBI counterintelligence. His job was to analyze Soviet intelligence operations. He knew exactly what the FBI was looking for. He knew how they tracked moles. He knew when investigations were getting close. And he would warn the KGB every single time. The FBI spent years hunting for a mole in the CIA. They were convinced the leak was at Langley. They arrested CIA officer Brian Kelly in 1999. They destroyed his career. He was completely innocent. The real mole was sitting in FBI headquarters the entire time. Reading every report about the investigation. Laughing at them. But what nobody expected was how Hanssen spent the money. He wasn't living large. No fancy cars. No offshore accounts. So where did $1.4 million go? The truth was far more disturbing than anyone imagined. Robert Hanssen gave most of his spy money to a stripper. Her name was Priscilla Sue Gailey. He met her at a Washington, D.C. strip club in the 1990s. He became obsessed. He paid for her college tuition. He bought her a Mercedes. He visited her multiple times per week for years. He spent thousands of dollars on her. But it gets stranger. Hanssen had set up a closed-circuit video system in his own bedroom. He invited his best friend Jack Hoshauer to watch him have sex with his wife. Hoshauer was stunned but complied. This happened multiple times. Hanssen was a mass of contradictions. Devout Catholic who never missed Mass. Sex addict who frequented strip clubs. Loyal husband who filmed his wife without consent. Trusted FBI agent who sold out his country. His psychology was a puzzle nobody could solve. But in the late 1990s, the walls started closing in. The CIA noticed something. Too many of their Russian sources were disappearing. The pattern was too consistent to be coincidence. They launched an investigation. The FBI joined. They called it Operation Greysuit. They created a list of people with access to the compromised information. Hanssen's name was on it. But so were 43 others. They needed proof. In 2000, the FBI got a break. A former KGB officer agreed to sell them a file. The price was $7 million. The file contained original documents from the mole. It included a black garbage bag Hanssen had used for a dead drop. The FBI analyzed the bag. They found a fingerprint. It was too degraded to identify. But the file also contained an audio recording. The mole's voice captured during a phone call. FBI analysts compared it to voice samples from all 44 suspects. The match was unmistakable. Robert Hanssen. The FBI couldn't believe it. One of their own. A supervisor in counterintelligence. They created a plan. They promoted Hanssen to a new position. Transferred him to FBI headquarters. Put him in an office under video surveillance. They watched him for weeks. Then on February 18, 2001, they followed him to Foxstone Park. And finally caught him red-handed. Robert Hanssen is 79 years old. He sits in ADX Florence in Colorado. 23 hours per day in a 7 by 12 foot cell. No human contact. No communication with other inmates. He will die there. He avoided the death penalty with a plea deal. In exchange, he had to submit to a full debriefing. He had to explain everything he had done for 22 years. The damage assessment took years to complete. The FBI concluded Hanssen was the most damaging spy in American history. Worse than Aldrich Ames. Worse than the Rosenbergs. He compromised more classified material than any mole before or since. But the real lesson isn't about Robert Hanssen. It's about the system that failed to catch him. He passed multiple polygraph tests. He had routine security reviews. He was investigated twice and cleared both times. The FBI's own security protocols were useless against an insider who knew how they worked. Today, the FBI has completely redesigned its counterintelligence division. New protocols. New oversight. New security measures. All because one man exploited every weakness in the system. And the question nobody wants to ask is this: how many more are out there right now? How many insiders are selling secrets today while everyone focuses on hackers and foreign threats? If this story kept you awake, subscribe. We expose one every week. And speaking of insiders who broke the system, you need to hear about the NSA contractor who stole the most classified documents in history and walked out with them on a thumb drive. Subscribe for a new dark truth every day.